Welcome to the Fractional podcast, where we share real stories of operators raising capital and partnering with everyday investors to bring big ideas to life. I'm your host, Stella Hahn, and today we have the wonderful Aaron Lambert, who did a co-living club raise on the Fractional platform not too long ago. Aaron actually just got off of a partnership call with all of his co-investors for the project, so I'm excited to dig a little deeper into that. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I love the wonderful Aaron. I love that. Thank you, Stella.
Wonderful
You,
times 100.
oh
Well,
my
I
goodness.
want to just get started right away. Tell us, how did you get into real estate and how your journey has kind of evolved throughout the years?
So the short story is, I read some books, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Then read a bunch more books, and then I, like I think it was 2020. I took my first stab at real estate. Didn't do anything. Pandemic happened. Started a company. Oh well, started a company that we sold COVID test kits, and I did like $30 million in revenue. And then once COVID died, I took some of my winnings and started buying real estate. I bought a bunch of traditional property or property traditionally and turned them into Airbnbs, and then ran out of cash, so I joined Sub Two and started wholesaling. And then that was in 2022, early 2023. Bought a couple properties in 23, and then just kind of like, yeah, it grew. Now today I have like 10 projects going on. We're buying two a month. Not holds, more like flips, but I have, we're trying to scale the co-living side of things. Not trying, we're doing, uh, moved away a little bit from Airbnb, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the short story.
I love that. I actually relate to that so much because I also started my investing journey just a little bit before COVID started and then really went all in during COVID. And then I feel like my personal strategy has just shifted a ton from what I was doing during COVID, where it's like any deal works, right? Like interest rates were so low, like long term rentals worked, and that was amazing until interest rates started spiking. Then it's like everything that I did no longer worked. And then all of a sudden, I'm trying to pivot, which is why I think co living is so interesting as a model because it, not only has a great purpose, but, just from an investment and financials perspective, right? I think it is able to withstand a lot of just the flaws of, traditional investing where you're getting a single family home and renting out the whole property. So I, I'm super curious, is that a strategy you're just really doubling down on right now? And was that, because of a shift in the markets?
Yeah, it is a strategy I'm doubling down on. I actually bought two properties in 2023. I didn't really, co-living was kind of becoming popular in Sub 2, right? And we had these two seller finance deals. Both of them were like $30,000 to $40,000 entry, and then both of them were $40,000 to really get them running as a pad split. So we bought them. I ended up selling one later on, but they do great. They're in Dallas, and unfortunately, I didn't figure out. I was still kind of running off of my money at the time. I didn't figure out other people's money thing until like really like this year. Uh, like the beginning of this year is like when I was really like, okay, if I don't want to wholesale anymore, if I really want to make some moves, I need to figure out like now or yesterday how to raise money and put to work on these properties. Like I've proven myself on the properties that I do have, being able to generate cash. The monies, some monies that I did borrow at some time, I had paid back. I have partners on some deals, so that are making money with me. So it's like I need to scale this thing up. So it's like let's go and figure out how to raise capital. So that's been a journey in itself. Um, but yeah, I mean, just the co-living. I know it's getting more and more popular, especially in the community, right? It's hard not for any one thing to be not popular in the community. uh, and it could seem like, at times that it might be getting, I don't think it's getting saturated yet because it's just not, co living is not, you still have a lot of markets that's untouched, at least by pad split. Not saying that co-living doesn't exist there, um, but you know, looking at the numbers, and I was real big on Airbnb because I have like 6 Airbnbs, and they do pretty good. I'd say they do relatively really good for where they are, outside of one that's in Houston. But they, I'm looking at the numbers like, okay, less work on the front end, less turnover, less everything, but the same or more profit. And it's like, okay, and I'm doing something that's not just like vacation. It's actually, it helps people. So, and looking at the prices of homes, everything, just everything of why somebody would want to get into co-living is just, it clicks for me, right? So I'm like, okay, I just need to go all in on this. And I'm not all in. I'm all in, but I still have my hands in fix and flips. I'm still doing fix and flips because fix and flips got nice, at least the ones that I'm doing got some really nice upsides once they start popping. So, and that's going to translate into co-living anyways. Like they got some of the fix and flips we're gonna turn into co-living and refinance. Some of the money that's going to be made from the or from the fix and flips is going to be paying off PMLs, PMPs, or just buying another co-living. So it's just all just, the machine has now started and it's not going to stop. At least unless something happens, I don't know. But yeah, all in, triple down.
Love it. The machine is only getting smoother and smoother and bigger and bigger. And I want to, double click on the other people money part that you talked about where, that was your light bulb moment where you're like, well, if I want to scale, then I need to raise money and bring more partners. And you touched on, private money lenders and private money partners. So I would love to pick your brains on how you think about when it's better to bring on a lender versus, potential equity partners when you're raising for your deals.
So, when is the better time? So for the co-living, for me, the way that I see it, I'm using lenders and partners, doubling down. Whereas I'm using the lenders at the first part because it takes a little while. I'm not so well known or known to be able to raise, $800,000 in, 72 hours, Michael. Or pays, $2 million, whatever. So it takes me a little time. So what I've figured out is I have PMLs that I use that don't mind coming in and giving the money. And then while I'm doing my capital raise, and so that gives me the ability to then take down the property, fix the property, and then replace it with PMP. So for me, it's like I need both. I need PMLs, and for me, it's like PMLs. They're shorter. You have to pay them back. So how are you going to pay them back? Unless you got some ungodly amount of money or you're generating a crazy amount of money on the other side, or like for me in the near future, once my flips start popping, right? I got two options. I could raise private capital for partnerships, which is a longer term play, right? These guys are going to come in. They're like you because you're my partner too. So y'all are in it for the long haul, and I don't have to worry about, of course I'm worried about my investors' returns. I want to get them their returns. I want to start getting them generating cash flow for them as fast as possible. But as it pertains to like on PMLs, like, okay, I have a short window and I have to pay them back the entire amount. So I got to make sure this money works and works right in the time frame that's needed to get them that thing. On the partnerships, like y'all are in it with me, right? Y'all are in it with me. Of course, I'm doing my best I would do my best on any project to generate the capital the fastest and the most. But y'all signed up for what it is, so that's what we're doing, right? So that's like, that's the difference for me, and what I'm looking for when I go either way. So I do a lot of PMLs for fix and flips as well too.
That makes a ton of sense. It's, lenders are for the fast turnaround, and then you bring in the equity partners for the long run, people who are bought into investing in and building something great with you. I think that makes a ton of sense, and that's why, I personally join in on the co-living club. So Tell us a little bit more about this specific project. I know all the details, but I'm not gonna spoil it for everyone here. Want to hear it from you.
Yeah, so this is a freaking ancient house. The neighbor actually grew up in the house. Her mom bought it in 1970. She grew up in it. I don't know if I told you that, but sweet old lady. She's like, look, I don't care what you do. I just don't want dogs and I want kids. I'm like, okay. Cool, whatever. We don't have any kids or dogs here. But the house is 3,700 square feet, heated, with about, I think there's really like 40, there's an additional like, I don't know, additional 1,000 square foot that's covered that could be converted into living square footage ever, if I ever wanted to. When I bought it, it was 9 bedrooms, 3 baths. Weird, right? And then they had, the way that the house is situated, it has this huge space in the middle of the house. Probably like 500 square foot. It feels like it anyway. It's a big old space. You can't turn into a room because it's in the center of the house, right? You have a door. You don't have a window that goes out. So we're like, okay, so we turned those into bathrooms. But anyways, we turned this 9 bed, 3 bath. We added 2 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. So now we have, it's a duplex too, which is great for multiple reasons, because you have 2 addresses. Now you kind of get away from like, oh, you can't have so many people in one address. Well, so we get rid of that. And it has 2 kitchens. Great. We were going to do 2 laundry rooms, but now we're doing coin laundry, so we get more money.
Love
And
that.
yeah, well, it's not coin, which is good. They got an app. It's cool because they got an app, and they can see whether or not if the unit's being used or not. So they're like, oh, okay, now it's my turn, right?
Oh,
They
that's
go,
incredible. That's way better than any sort of laundry setup that I'd had to deal with when I was living in one of these properties.
you lived in one?
Yeah, I lived in a hacker house coming out of college actually. So
Oh,
I was
wow.
I was a
Okay.
customer of co-living.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was fun. I love being around people, so it actually felt really nice being able to come home and like still hang out with other people, and we would just do work together, hang out in the living room, and then yeah, go stay in our individual rooms. It's just
That's
I feel
cool.
like it's the good like young professionals type of life.
Yeah, I like that. You know what's funny is Pad Split, they don't want anybody hanging out. Like I told my property manager, I was like, look, we have space right here. Should we put like couch or something? Like it's in the common space. Like should we put a couch, maybe a little, coffee table or something? I don't know. And he's like, nope, we don't want people hanging out. I'm like,
They're
okay,
like,
well,
you
let's
come
put a
here,
picture
you
on the
sleep,
wall.
you live, that's it.
We'll put a picture on the wall. Good to go. Maybe a little entry table, right? Like welcome with some mints. They'll last 2 days. But yeah, so we got this thing. We turned it into 11 beds, 11 baths. We hooked it up. It is straight freaking Amazon everything, and there's nothing really original in the place. But everybody's got their own mini fridge. They got their own dresser, obviously a closet, beds. I think what else we did? Everybody's got a TV and a desk and a chair, so they can get some work done if they're work from home type of people. And everybody's got their own bathroom. Who doesn't want their own bathroom? I mean, shoot, I live in a house with 2 kids and a wife, and I would prefer to have my own bathroom. My
I
kids are in
relate.
there messing things up. So, you know, the thought there was like, okay, I was looking at the market in Lakeland. Lakeland has very, very little, if any, 1-to-1 ratio on a pad split. And then another thing about Lakeland is I noticed as I was there working, literally physically working on the property, a lot of people leave Lakeland to go to Tampa and Orlando to work, and then they come back. So that's okay, that's plus, right? You got a lot of commuters because it's cheaper to live in Lakeland. So that was another one, and then it's really close to. I mean, you could walk to the transportation. Actually, the transportation is right outside the back of the house. You just jump over the. I think there's some train tracks or something there. jump over there, you're on the road. Or no, the main road's right there. You just walk through the field and get there. And then another thing great about this house is on a dead end. And on the dead end, they got these huge cul-de-sacs, and they got nobody living around the cul-de-sacs. It's just empty. It's just so it's a great spot. Plenty of parking, plenty of everything. So there was a lot of pluses for me on this one.
I love that. How did you find the deal?
So a wholesaler brought it to me, and I was actually trying to dual wholesale it to another. Actually, so what I was trying to do was I called another guy. He's got tons and tons of freaking pad splits, and I'm like, dude, instead of giving me a wholesale fee, let's partner on it. I'm trying to up my door count. And he's like, okay. So we had a bunch of conversations, and the seller wanted a application, like a bank application, like a seller finance application. And they were like, oh, him and his partner was being all weird about it. I was like, I don't even care. But they didn't want to fill it out. So, anyways, the deal died. Like they just went away because they just didn't want to fill it out. So, like 2 months goes by. I call the agent. I was like, hey, this thing's still live. What's going on with this thing? He's like, oh, yeah, we just took it off the market. I'm like, all right, well, look, I want to lock it up, but I need, better numbers or whatever. So he's like, oh, well, we just dropped it 20,000. I was like, so anyways, we worked out negotiated numbers, and then I filled out I started looking over the application. I'm like, bro, I'm buying this thing seller finance. I'm not going to give you all this information. I'm going to give you what I want. And he's like, yeah, just fill out a little, whatever you want, and then I'm just going to send it so I just filled out like the bare minimum on this application, send it in, and they was like cool with it. Not that it really mattered, but it was legitimately like a bank application, like I'm applying for a loan. So that's how I got it, and I ended up paying a wholesale like $3,000 on the deal, because he let it go, but I found out about the deal because of him, so I still paid him.
Yeah, I mean your persistence got us this gem over here, right? Like, I mean, every
Yeah,
time I
yeah,
think about the deal, I'm like, this is such a rare find. I do not see properties where you can set up a pad split where there is that 1-to-1 ratio, and being able to get plugged into something like this. So I'm like, wow, dude, Aaron was hunting and finding us,
yeah,
this gold mine over here, which is super awesome. And speaking of persistence, I feel like you were, very much that in the entire capital raising process. I felt just so much authenticity, how genuine you were, throughout the whole process. And, I think that's how you were able to build this tribe of 20-ish investors to come together and join you in this effort. So walk us through what that was like, because I know it's a first time experience for you to run a capital raising process this way.
yeah. Well, you know what? I was twerking hard on Facebook like every single day. I had to, right? It put me in a spot where like, okay, I'm putting myself out there. I have to not only show people who I am, which I don't have a problem showing that. I don't hide from nobody, but it was like a totally different kind of push, right? And it was being super consistent with it, and I learned a lot of what I did on the capital raise from Michael Manatakanian, great individual. You know him, so I learned, and I'm still learning from him. And then it was like, okay, I'm all in on this deal. I already raised PML. I'm already got Gator Capital or Gator funds on the EMD, and I have to there is no going back or I'm losing a bunch of money, right? It's like, and just ticking a bunch of people off. So, actually the first time that I presented this deal was a package deal with two other properties. One of the properties was already a cash flowing Airbnb. I mean, sorry, cash flowing pad split, and the other property was just as big, well, slightly smaller as it pertains to what needed to be done to it, than the Lakeland property, but it was a lot, right? It was a $500,000. Never raised a dollar in my life outside of the one-offs, right? And so Michael's like, that's a big one for your first one. And I'm like, dude, this is where, getting a little spotty there. Dang it. Let me try to close some stuff out real quick.
Oh, I think you're back.
Hello?
We'll edit it out. Don't worry.
Okay,
Can you
let
hear
me
me?
close some of this stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah, you got your editor.
Yeah, we'll edit it out. Don't worry.
Okay. But let me close some of this because it's probably causing some. My wife just told me that. Well, I won't go into that right now. But so where are we at? So he's like,
uh,
man, yeah. He said, man, this is a big race for your first one. I'm like, I got this. I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna get on Fractional because we had like 100 something people sign up on that first one, and like 86 of them showed up. And then I raised $0. I'm like, oh, what the heck did I do wrong? So, I'm like, oh God, okay. So that wasn't as easy as I thought. I thought I had it. Like there was like no way I'm getting off of this call without raising at least half of this 500,000. That was in my mind. And so it was like kind of a slight disappointment when I got off the call and I had zero, and then like the next day I had zero, and I'm like, you know what? And then I ended up canceling it because I had problems with one of the properties. The wholesaler was like messing it up. It was like too much of a drama. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to deal with this. So, I think it was only like maybe a couple days later, a week later, that I went ahead and now came back on with the one property. And I think, how many, I had to do like three. I think I did three, right? Two or
yeah,
three to
yeah.
get to finally get the capital raise. But yeah, it was like, all in. I can't go back. There's no going back because I don't want to ruin my reputation, look like a dumb, and then have to pay back money that I lost because I couldn't get close on a capital raise. So, like, yeah. And now I'm like implementing a few strategies for capital raising. Like I have starting doing some like LinkedIn stuff, posting on there, and then just reaching out and like to more people. I got a CRM built out, so trying to be a little more organized in that front because it can get a little overwhelming if you're not. And I can't remember everybody's freaking name. How am I supposed to? I need a CRM for that. Go. Here's the email. Send. you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so incredible that, you just shared that story because, not everyone gets an oversubscribed home run on that first Zoom call, right? I think,
mm,
we obviously everyone tells the success stories, but it is a process in itself, and that consistency is what I think is actually really important in building trust and relationship with potential investors, right? I mean, just thinking about it, I think it's awesome just with how much turnout you got on that first Zoom call, but that is potentially a lot of people's very first time hearing that, you're doing this type of project and they're ramping up to this idea. They're also, trying to picture, how does a co-living club work, and there's multiple properties. So there is a ramp up period, not only for the capital raisers that are putting together something, but also for the audience that are thinking about whether or not they want to join. So I am very grateful that, you didn't just back down or give up on the raise from the first Zoom, but instead you're like, you know what? It's okay. We're going to come around the second time. We're going to do it again the third time. And that repetition, I think it really just showed a lot about who you are as an operator, where you got the conviction from the investors at the end, where actually the raise got oversubscribed than your original target. So that is something that I think a lot of capital raisers don't realize is they think it's like, okay, you're here to bat once and that's all it takes. It is
yeah.
certainly not like that for the majority of people. I think it's all about, building those relationships, building trust, and having a scalable process from there on, which is something that you just mentioned, which I love. So I'm curious, how are you now running your partnership process? I know you came off of, a partnership call just earlier before the podcast, which is something that I think is super important, is maintaining that relationship, continuing to build the trust so that, all of us in your current deal, we're going to come back again the next time you do something again, right? So talk to us about, what are you covering in these partnership calls that you're doing with your co-investors?
Yeah, so on this most recent one, we're still in the well, we're at the final stages of the setting up the property, right? This was a little longer than what usually would be on a conversion, in my opinion. Don't really like it was a lot of work that we had to do to this property. Some stuff came up that we didn't realize, but we just took care of it, whatever. And so what we talked about was, we were in the final stages. I was having I had my handyman. He was supposed to be sending me a video, but he was having a hard time. I guess it was a long video. He had a hard time loading it up, so I didn't get to share that yet. But just going over, I showed everybody the security systems that we got there. So all the cameras, we were looking at those. So we'll have, I have an eye, and my property manager has an eye, telling them where all we were at, like what was completed and what was left. And then, after really just giving a status update on that, that we were coming to the final days, is we went the next part of the call was underwriting another deal that I'm going to be putting on Fractional. So
there we go.
yeah,
That's the never ending cycle, right? Is you do one, the relationships are there, you're making progress, everyone's following along, they're learning. Now they know what it's like working with you as an operator, and then now we go again, right? It only gets smoother and bigger and better each time. So
yeah.
you're checking all the boxes for, how to run the best relationship and capital raising process. So I am certainly excited
I'm
for the next
excited that
deal
you're
that's
excited.
coming
It
up.
makes me happy to see that my partner, Miss Stella, is excited for me and the other opportunities and this opportunity. I'm 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 I can't wait until we get the thing listed so I can see how fast we can get some peeps in there. Because we got not only Pad Split, but we got like several other sites that we're going to be listing on as well that are one I never even heard of, but it has a lot of activity in Lakeland area. And then there's a couple other ones that my property manager knows, and he's looking on Facebook Marketplace too. He's like, I don't think we're having a problem. He's thinking we're going to be able to fill half of it up off a Pad Split, which is going to be great because we're going to save all of that money up front, which if you look at it like at dollar value, it's $250 per. But if you look at the interest rate over the time, it's it's way better. So it's nice. It puts more money in your pocket, mine too. But
Yeah,
so
that's gonna be. I feel like whenever as investors we get that first like occupied, and then it keeps building from there, and then we get our first checks, like that's when it starts feeling like really damn good and sticky, where you're like, okay, now we got this whole flywheel just unlocked, right? That's like peak momentum.
yeah, love that, love that. And I have a goal. So my goal was I have it written down right here on my board. I think it's 25 doors by the end of the year. Um, and that was you know that was fix and flips and co-living, but I'm going to surpass that, especially if I get two more co-living properties. I'm going to like double that goal. And that's like huge for me because I ain't never, and then I have other goals too that I hadn't even looked at. And the other day I was like, I wrote out, you can't tell, I'm not going to show you, but I have this whiteboard. It's like 5 foot or 6 foot wide and like 4 foot. And 2025 goals, I literally mapped out each portion, like business, real estate, personal, social media, all this stuff. And like I hadn't really been looking at it. And the other day, when I got back from Florida, I looked at it. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be like close to hitting most of these goals this year, and I haven't even been focused on like the actual like looking over the goal. It's just like in my mind, right? Like I wrote it down and made a plan, semi plan, and just working towards it. It's like it's really close to happening. So I'm like, this is amazing.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I love that for you. You're looking at your whiteboard, you're like, wow, I am really crushing it. And you are. I heard the 25 and I was like, wait, you're not far from that at all. I'm like, you should be able to beat that, like no problem. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking, and then I know, well, I was talking with one of my a Gator. I have a Gator lender friend of mine, Brenda Villafranco. Do you know her? Yeah,
Yes.
she's awesome. And she did. She brought me a lender the other day. It's a little short term thing that we're doing. It's like over here in Vegas, like 35 days, like a little fix and flip. It's like fix and flip in 2 weeks, like 2 days to furnish it, and then 4 days to put the people in there, which is not, it's co-living, but it's not a pad split. And then we have a buyer that's buying it, right? Like they're already in escrow waiting for this to happen. So as soon as it's full with beds, then they close on it. So anyways, she brought me, we were talking the other day, and I was like, yeah, I was like, man, this, because I'm always looking for capital. I said, well, this is crazy thing. It's like, I'm going to pay back my peeps for this capital, and then they're just going to turn around and just give me the money right back to go put it back to work. I'm like, this is amazing, because now they got all these people, and then the more you add, and then it's just like compounding all the money that you are able to use, and then they make money, you make money, we all make money, we're all happy. So
Yeah, and don't
so,
forget the word
yeah.
of mouth too. It's like we're internally compounding, as in, the group of investors with you already, and then, as all of us have an amazing experience, we're gonna go tell 20 more of our friends and be like, hey, we've been in the co-living club. Aaron's been super on top of it. We're learning so much. Now we're all making money. It's like all of those things are so exciting to co-investors in your club. It's just, people just can't help but share, right? It's like I get really excited whenever I see you send a text talking about what's going on, and then I'm like, if I'm having lunch with my friends and that text come through, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my text. This thing just happened in this property that I'm in, and then now all of a sudden everyone's really curious and they're asking me when your next deal is, right? So this flywheel is only going to get bigger, which is why I am super, super pumped for what you're going to do next. And where can people find you? Where can they stay up to date to hear about the next big thing that you're going to be rolling out very soon?
Well, specifically, Fractional will be, I mean, I will be posting there on the deal whenever that's ready, but Facebook, I mean, it's my name, Aaron Lambert. Instagram, it's my name _, and I post as much as I can on there, and I will be posting deals on there whenever I have them. And this deal that I have coming up, it's going to be on Fractional, so yeah, just look out for me. I'll be there.
We
Be the
love
guy
it.
making some stupid silliness on Facebook.
We're making stupid silliness on Facebook and then big moves on Fractional. That is
There
that
we
is the
go.
exact plan. Well,
Yeah.
Aaron, I am super, super excited for what's coming up next, and thank you so much for coming onto the show today. We learned from zero to many more in the future. I think that journey has been very inspirational, and I'm very lucky to be one of your fellow co-investors on a project, and unlocking those milestones is just going to be one after the other. So thank you so much again for coming on, and for everyone tuning in, we'll see you on the next episode.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Stella. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Nice! Woohoo!
Yay!